every second, every minute. Man, I swear that she can get it. Say if you a bad bitch, put your hands up high. Hands up high. Hands up high. Tell them turn the lights down right now. Put me in the mood. I'm talking about dark room perfume. Go, go.
I recognize your fragrance. Hold up, you ain't never gotta say shit. And I know your taste is a little bit high maintenance. Everybody else basic. You live life on an everyday basis with poetic justice. Poetic justice. If I told you that a flower bloomed in a dark room, would you trust it? I mean, I write poems in these songs dedicated to you. And you're in the mood for empathy. There's blood in my pen. Better yet, with your friends and them. I really wanna know you off. I really wanna show you off. Fuck God, pour up plenty of champagne. Cold nights when you curse this name. You called up your girlfriends and your girl in that little bitty range. I heard that she wanna go and party. She wanna go and party. Nigga, don't approach her with that Atari. Nigga, that ain't good game, homie, sorry. They say conversation through the nation. I can tell, but I could never right my wrongs unless I write it down for real. P.S. You can get it, you can get it, you can get it.
It's so quiet, but I hear you. Say you tell me, baby. Said our time will make enough time. The times you wasn't really waking up. Now you never said I couldn't miss you touch. I needed you, I needed you. Needed you distance for something new. I was just alone without you. So confused, won't you? Can I tell you something for what it's worth? We had that time. Show you something, give me more than words. We had this place on please be done. Please be nothing to me. What you do to me, yeah. Please be done. Please be nothing to me, yeah. What you do to me,
Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it. Saying if you a bad bitch, put your hands up high. Hands up high, hands up high. Tell them dim the lights down right now. Put me in the mood. I'm talking about dark room, perfume. Go.
I recognize your fragrance. Hold up, you ain't never gotta say shit. And I know your taste is a little bit high maintenance. Everybody else basic. You live life on an everyday basis with poetic justice. Poetic justice. If I told you that a flower bloomed in a dark room, would you trust it? I mean, I write poems in these songs dedicated to you and you're in the mood for empathy. Blood in my pen. Better yet with your friends and them. I really wanna know you all. I really wanna show you off. Fuck God, pour up plenty of champagne. Cold nights when you curse this name. You called up your girlfriends and y'all curled in that little bitty range. I heard that she wanna go and party. She wanna go and party. Nigga don't approach her with that Atari. Nigga that ain't good game home is sorry. They say conversation rule the nation. I can tell, but I could never right my wrongs unless I write it down for real. P.S. You can get it, you can get it, you can get it.
months. Been gone for a year, only know like once. Life move fast when you do what you want. I guess I'm doing what I want. Hope you doing what you want. What you want?
My new bitch look like Halle Berry, but she don't love me, she too scary. My old bitch fun like Jackie Brown. I wanna know if she too down. Will you be my leading lady? I want a contract, yeah, no maybe. In the meantime,
It's not going what I want.
just some me time.
Hope you doing what you want.
Crib by the beach like Odell. No, I'm all my killers don't tell. Shadow my mom cause I knew you off the shelf. Now my bitch is to Chanel. Will you be my leading lady? I wanna contract and get a little maybe. In the meantime,
It's not going what I want.
get some me time.
Hope you doing what you want. But it's been a few hours, but it feel like days. Only been days, but it feel like months. Been gone for a year, only know like once. Life move fast when you do what you want.
In the meantime,
It's not going what I want.
get some me time.
You doing what you want.
In the meantime,
It's not going what I want.
get some me time.
You doing what you want.
Maybe I'll love myself, I don't know. Leave me here, I'll fuck myself. See me in the mirror, I duck myself. Don't need much, so fuck my wealth.
I need you in the morning, but I need you now. Yeah, I know I gave you all you need. I know what you like. I feel it coming. Johnny got the answer. I try to read you, and I need some lessons. I need to get better. I tried to live, but I can't. I don't know why I got the wall. Drop me out of my mind. Don't need no other body. Don't need no other body. Only you feel on my body. Only you feel on my body. You don't need no other body.
Then I need a mess of my mind. And I need to get free of the mind. Say your body talk to me nice. Say I'm my love you didn't need for your life. Yeah, our love no be like. Say every day together, yeah, day and night. Yeah, if I leave, you go by. Yeah, if you leave, I go love me your body, baby. Love me your body, baby. As you're whining your body, baby. So crazy. Love me your body, baby. Girl, you want need me. I just wanna let you know. Oh, baby, day.
Don't need no other body. Don't need no other body. Only you feel on my body. Only you
Come on in, y'all. Happy Wednesday. Y'all please double tap the screen to like the video. Let's get into it. Hey, Lady Marie. Hey, Nicole. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank y'all for joining. I appreciate it. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful day. I do. We're going to get started, y'all. All right. So, I don't know. The first story we're going to cover is the Precious Johnson story. I don't know how many of y'all. Let me bring it up. Let me bring it up. Let me bring it up. Bring it up. I don't know how many of y'all have seen, read, or heard about this story. I think it's. You know what? I'm just gonna let the video play. I'm just gonna let the video play because I'm going to be reacting to this content in real time with you all. Because even though I saved it on my playlist, I have not had a chance to view it. But y'all know I go to my go-tos for crime and justice. So I think this one is let me make sure. In fact, let me look at my other device because I need to share it out. So give me just a second. Cut this off. Let's see, let's see, let's see. I think I'm on the first video we're gonna react to is Carlos King, I think. And he dropped his video 12 days ago, and I'm gonna share him out. So y'all can, oh shit, that's wrong. So y'all can go over there and support. I think I pulled his video first. All right, so y'all go over there and support Carlos. Like I said, most of y'all I think do already support him. So let's get it now. Precious Johnson. I was gonna say where this crime took place at, but I'm not because I'm not for sure. So I'm gonna just let the video play and we're gonna react. But Precious Johnson is a young lady that had just given birth, and her military husband unalived her. I think her military husband unalived her while she was in the hospital after giving birth to their baby. So we're gonna listen, we're gonna react, and we're gonna talk about it. So if y'all have any questions, put them in the chat. If I can answer them, I will. Other than that, please double tap the screen, please, and thank you to like the live stream. I appreciate y'all being here. Okay, let's go.
When they arrived, they found two people. Investigators say shots fired. When they arrived, they found two people. Investigators say it appears to be a domestic murder. The Jefferson County coroner identifies the victim as 24-year-old Precious Johnson of Birmingham, a patient at the hospital. Shots fired. When they arrived, they found two people. Investigators say it appears to be a domestic murder. The Jefferson County coroner identifies the victim as 24-year-old Precious Johnson of Birmingham, a patient at the hospital, and 19-year-old Kenneth William Terry Jr. of Midfield. The coroner says Johnson was multiple times, and Terry Jr. died. The hospital was
In the video I had mentioned, I was wondering how paternity may have been one of the issues, or how did they find out and things like that. But I forgot that you can also a test while the child is still in your stomach. So yeah, I forgot to mention that. But let's get into the video. All right, what's up with the YouTube fam? I'm back again with another video, right? So listen, a lot of y'all probably have already seen what's been going on social media, but a lot of people don't have a lot of context around what took place or why it took place. We only see the story, right? And it's been like that for me as well too. I've been downloading videos about it for the past couple of days, but I always want to wait, and I'm glad I did, because now I have more clarity and clarification on what possibly was the reason on why he did what he did. Now, in this video, I will have the news speaking about certain things, and I also will be reading statuses that the family has posted on the young man's behalf about what took place and why. Now, I had my thoughts about it initially, but to actually come to social media, which is YouTube is a form of it, but to be on here spewing out stuff with no bona fide facts would be crazy on my behalf. I don't even move like that. But we're going to talk about a couple of different things. I'm going to break it down to y'all, give y'all a brief synopsis, and then we're going to get into the videos and then the statuses that the family has posted. But basically, it's a young man by the name of Kenneth Terry Jr. He's 19 years old, and his wife's name was Precious Johnson. Now, she actually was giving birth. She had a baby, and moments after she had a baby, he took her life. They were at Brookwood Hospital in Homewood, Alabama. Now, people were speculating maybe, the baby came out, wasn't his color. It's all type of different shit being stated on the internet.
Brookwood Hospital in Homewood, which Homewood is Birmingham. It's a part of Birmingham, but he said Brookwood, and I thought when I looked at one of the videos it said Baptist Health. And the reason why I'm trying to verify whether or not it was Baptist Health or not is because we Baptist Health is two of our major hospitals here where I am, and I know about the security measures that they take when you visit their hospital. So I'm just wondering how this young man was able to get a gun into the hospital. But I'm gonna continue to listen. I'm gonna listen to the facts of what happened, and then we're gonna talk.
We'll really never know. That's why I'll never go off of that shit too much. But basically, the family spoke out, and they were basically kind of insinuating that the baby was not his. Now, they didn't just come right out and say that, but the statuses that were posted surrounding this lets you know. Now, he was in the army, the military, one of the two. Basically, people were saying it was also a mental health issue. We don't know. But after he took her life, he exited on his own accord. You should know what I mean by that. I can't just necessarily break it down, but y'all understand, y'all ain't slow hell. He exited on his own behalf, so he's no longer here. Y'all get that, don't you? I just gotta apply by YouTube's guidelines and not say certain things. But basically, he exited.
They be kidding me. I love these bigger content creators. They be trying to be so careful. After he unalived her, he turned the gun on himself, and he unalived himself, basically, right there in the hospital.
His own accord. So people were saying maybe the army messed him up, or the military, maybe, all these different things. But the family said,
number 19, how long was he in the army? I mean, I do agree that the military will fuck you up, but I mean, this dude, he was 19. How long was he there? And if he had mental issues, I'm thinking he might have had them before he got into the army. So how in the hell was he able to get in? Don't they test for stuff like that? I don't know. But he was 19. They don't search people at the hospital. When I went to visit someone, they didn't search. I could have anything in my purse. It probably has changed. Well, I know the okay. So I don't even know about one of the Baptist hospitals that we have here. I know about the one I go to regularly. I know about the one I go to, and how it works is this: you go through a metal detector, especially if you go through the ER. Now, the main entrance to the hospital. The main entrance to the hospital is the main entrance, and it's an ER entrance. The main entrance, you go in, and it's like for outpatient stuff. It's got the OB, the labor and delivery rooms and things like that. And you can also, go to the main hospital, the floors and stuff. You go through a metal detector. When you go through the ER, you definitely go through a metal detector. The main entrance I think is open from 6 a.m. to either 9 or 10. I can't remember which one, but it closes at a certain time. And then everybody that comes in after 9 or 10 o'clock p.m. has to go through the emergency room, which you go through a metal detector, and then if you visit it, and if you go into somebody's room in the main hospital, they escort you there or whatever. I don't know, to be honest, if all hospitals do it that way. I don't even know, because we got two Baptist Health hospitals here, and then we have another hospital in my city. And I can't even tell you because I hadn't been to them in a while. I used to work at one of the other ones, but I hadn't been to it in a while. And so I don't know if they do the same as this one that I go to, but I know the one that I go to. In both entrances, you have to go through a metal detector. And I'm assuming the other hospital, one of the other hospitals here, do the same because they're from of the same they're the same company, whatever. But let's listen.
Certain stuff. Now I'm going to let y'all watch these videos. We're going to read these statuses and break it down. But I just simply want to say RP to him, and I want to send my condolences out to the family. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into these videos. Let's go.
And we begin with breaking news out of Homewood. Two people are after a shooting at Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital. It happened late last night. This afternoon,
Hold on 1 second, y'all. I'll be right back. Hold on 1 second. Now you said, Nicole, you said, and they probably thought, well, he is the father allegedly in military. No, they check. Look, I don't know about this hospital. Like I said, I can't speak on no hospital where I've been in the last, however many years. But I don't think being military has anything to do with them not searching you. If a hospital search you, if you have to go through a military hospital, everybody going through it. Whether you can be the police, you could be military, you could be whatever. But I'm just curious, as I'm real curious as to know how he got that gun in that hospital. But I'm gonna listen.
But I just simply want to say RP to him, and I want to send my condolences out to the family. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into these videos. Let's go.
and we begin with breaking news out of Homewood. Two people are after a shooting at Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital. It happened late last night. This afternoon.
See, I just heard it. I knew I heard Baptist Health Brooklyn Hospital. And Baptist Health here is the hospital I was speaking about the metal detectors. We got two Baptist Health here. One is in my city, one is right outside the city. And then, and I know for a fact, hold on, y'all, hold on. Nicole, yeah. So this is the thing. I thought I heard him say Baptist Health Brooklyn. The hospital I was speaking about that I've been to is a Baptist Health hospital. Baptist Health has numerous, and I mean numerous hospitals here in the South. I don't know if all the Baptist Health hospitals operate the same way. I don't know. I don't. I just know the one I go to here and how it operates. And you have to go through a metal detector at the main entrance, and you have to go through a metal detector at the ER entrance. So let's listen, y'all. Hey, Gabe. Let's listen.
Afternoon, we have live team coverage. Now, first, we want to hear from you. Should hospitals increase security screening measures? Yes or no? You can join the conversation right now on our website. Scan the QR code to answer the question. And breaking just into the newsroom, we have just learned that the shooting took place in the women's center at the hospital. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ariel Bailey.
And I'm Shanti Ford. Now, police believe that this is a apparent murder. They say the situation does appear to be a domestic one, but still there are a lot of questions that remain unanswered at this hour. ABC 3340's Faye Fox, she's going to kick off our live team coverage. And hey, Faye, what do we know about the man and woman who were both found?
You say, then think about it. There, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. There's not many entrances at the hospital I go to. I mean, there's many doors, but there's not many doors that are unlocked. Unless somebody can let you in, but I don't think. And look, I don't claim to know about all of the doors or if they're all locked because I've never been in any door but the main entrance or the ER or wherever. But I don't know. Nicole. We're gonna hear. Maybe they'll say how he got in. I don't know.
Shot wounds.
Ashanti Muriel investigators say that the woman, 24-year-old Precious Johnson of Birmingham, she was a patient here at Brookwood Hospital, and the second victim, 19-year-old Kenneth Terry Jr. of Midfield, he was the visitor. Now, Jefferson County coroner, they say that, and the bigger question is, how did that get inside that hospital? A place meant for care turned into a crime scene. Homewood police are investigating a shooting inside the women's center at Brookwood Hospital. Officers were called just after 9:25 Sunday night on reports of shots fired. When they arrived, they found two people. Investigators say it appears to be a domestic murder. The Jefferson County coroner identifies the victim as 20.
If y'all hear pauses in the video, it's not me. It's Carlos. He edits his videos. If certain words he think is gonna get him in trouble with YouTube, he edits them out. So, hey Bertha, good to see you, boo.
24-year-old Precious Johnson of Birmingham, a patient at the hospital, and 19-year-old Kenneth William Terry Jr. of Midfield. The coroner says Johnson was shot multiple times, and Terry Jr. died. The hospital was placed on lockdown overnight, lifted Monday morning. In a statement, Brookwood Hospital says police immediately responded and secured the scene. Homewood Mayor Jennifer Andrews calls this an active investigation and says the city is working closely with the hospital leadership. But major questions still remain. How did a visitor get inside a hospital? What security measures were in place at the women's center entrance? Will those protocols now change? We also asked police about the full timeline from the first shot to the moment the lockdown was lifted, and the relationship between the two victims. So far, no answers. And until those answers come, families, staff, and patients are left wondering how this could happen inside a hospital. Homewood police report no other injuries, and Brookwood Hospital is operating as normal, but officials could not comment due to the ongoing investigation. Live in Homewood, Faye Fox, ABC.
Now, a lot of people don't really understand, I guess, that a lot of hospitals don't require you to be like screened and checked. And people don't ever think something like this will ever happen. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But people were saying that the baby looked like him, and they don't understand why he did what he did. While I was off screen, I've been still checking around, looking for different things that's being said. And that's one of the things they're saying. The baby looked like him. I won't be posting that baby on here, but from what I've seen, I can see where they're coming from. But it's been millions of situations like that where a child can have certain features and look like someone and not be that child's. I mean, they might not be the father here, but I see the family is going off on people and shit like that, and I can understand why. But also, a lot of people don't understand this is how the internet works, and they don't give a damn about how the internet works either. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, people gonna say what they say, especially in a situation like this. But one thing I will say, a lot of people are riding for him, and a lot of people are against him as well too. But people always say certain things when a woman is hurt and stuff like that too, and when a man is hurt, it gets kind of swept under the rug. And they'll tell you don't play with people's feelings and don't lie to them and stuff like that. But being a young man, he probably know how to handle his emotions, but it's not to the magnitude of how someone older may handle it. And giving somebody your all and certain things coming out will make you snap. Now, I'm not justifying this shit at all, but I'm definitely understanding on both sides. Now, no, not on no cheating and leaving people alone and stuff, if that's the actual case. Now, I'm pretty sure they'll do some testing to find out for sure. And if they already have, I was wondering how the hell did they find out so fast, but I've been looking up certain things and they have rapid testing and stuff like that too. So you never know. They haven't gave us details yet and probably won't ever do it, but that's from what we're seeing right now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I got one more video coming up. We're going to read these statuses and then we're going to talk about everything too in the comments. Let's go.
Breaking news out of Homewood, where we have just learned the woman this weekend at Baptist Health Medical Center had just delivered a baby. The Jefferson County coroner says 24-year-old Precious Johnson, which multiple times Johnson's family says they were married. And they're talking to your reporter, Bria Chapman, who is now live and on your side, getting information for us also about safety inside hospitals. This is just an awful, awful tragedy, Bria.
Yeah, Morgan, that is right. Awful is right. Now, this tragedy has sparked a lot of questions when it comes to safety in our hospitals. Now, I spoke to the leader of the Alabama Hospital Association about this incident and what safety protocols look like in hospitals, and if this incident might bring some changes to what we see.
There's a few places in our world that we should feel safe. Church, our hospitals, they're your home. And, unfortunately, things happen and we don't feel as safe anymore.
That's Dane Howard, the president and CEO of the Alabama Hospital Association. Sunday night, police say 19-year-old Kenneth Terry Jr. was visiting Baptist Medical Brookwood Hospital when he 24-year-old Precious Johnson.
We want to assure the public that our hospitals, our healthcare providers, their safety is as much of a concern as providing quality health care.
One way Howard says the association works to keep you and staff safe in every hospital is they require updated safety plans every 2 years.
So we work with the hospitals and have for years on helping with some of the exercises. The public health department has emergency preparedness districts in the state, and each district, they have coordinators that also, they work with the hospitals, they plan exercises.
There's no mandate that requires hospitals in Alabama to have security guards, but Howard says majority do have them, and she adds some hospitals have added security measures.
Yes, we have a number of hospitals that have medical detectors and security procedures. So different hospitals have different protocols.
Yeah, Howard says as this investigation continues into this incident, they will reassess how hospitals look at their safety protocols and determine if some changes are needed. Your reporter live tonight in Homewood, I'm Bria Chapman, WBRC 6 News.
All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and read these messages real quick. I mean, these status, I keep on saying messages. Okay, now I got some from the father and I got some from the uncle. I'm gonna get straight into the one that I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all been waiting to hear. So basically it says, for one, he wasn't dealing with no mental health issues, period. He said, I talk to my nephew every day. He was financially stable because he worked 50 plus hours and cut hair. He was ready to be a father, was excited about it, and that got took from him. So, I mean, shit, if your wife pregnant, you wanted to be a father and it got took from you and the baby was not harmed, that tells you a lot right there. But like, I always carry things correctly, so I can't just say that's what they're saying without them actually saying it, but we understand. You know what I'm saying? And everything I'm saying in this video from beginning to the end is all allegedly and my thoughts and opinions, and I'm just going off of what I'm seeing. Okay, it says, my sister and brother did a great job with him. He graduated, went to the army, was a diesel mechanic, etc. He even sent me money when I needed. Big Daddy will give you anything. Granted, a lot of people was taking advantage of him. He loved that girl, even married her, but we all been there. Okay, so for the uncle to say all of that, that says a lot. Now, people are justify whatever they choose to justify. We all grown here. We can do whatever the hell we want to do and think how we want to think. I just feel like a lot of people do pick and choose certain things according to what they're projecting or what they feel suits their narrative. But these are, I can't, because I don't want, I'm just going to say, I can understand somebody snapping, but I also understand somebody understanding that this could happen and moving a different way. But that's that man's wife. And I see a lot of women saying a lot of different things when it comes to people being married. And I see a lot of men saying the same things too on what they will and won't do in their situation. But in this situation, if that is true, if he had bona fide faith.
Poor Carlos, he's struggling. And I know a lot of content creators are very, very, and larger content creators such as him. I noticed that they really be trying to be careful about what they say. And I'm not saying like he's not giving his honest opinion. What I'm saying is they tread lightly. You know what I'm saying? Because they know how quick, the social media culture will try to cancel you because of what you may feel about a situation or whatever, and it may not be, the popular opinion. But the truth of the matter is this. Y'all know that I feel like there's absolutely to me, honestly, you shouldn't take another life. Absolutely not. That is not up to you. That is not something we're supposed to do. Now, with that being said, we do recognize that there are, mental health issues and mental illness and things of that nature that cause people to be not cognitive of what they're doing or whatever they because they're snap. We do know that shit exists because people have been diagnosed with it. Like people do snap, you know, they do snap and they do what they do. Another thing I want to say is this, and like I say, a lot of content creators might not say it because they don't want to suffer any backlash or anything, but here, I'm used to backlash. I'm not gonna do content on something and not be totally honest and say how I feel. Women and men, whether you're a woman or a man, people should stop being deceptive, lying, and playing with people's emotions when it comes to certain issues such as babies and things of that nature. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that what he did was right. It wasn't at all. If anything, if he found out the baby wanted heels, he should have walked away. He should have absolutely walked away. There's no excuse for him taking her life. If he chose to take his life, that's on him. I don't think he should have took his life either. But you know, people have to be conscious of other people's feelings and emotions or the lack thereof. Because just like there's people that's overly emotional, there's people that don't have emotions at all. And they can do certain shit and not feel a thing. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times when stuff like this happen, like in this situation, I think a person may become overly emotional. Like if the young man was married, he married her, and the whole time she was pregnant, he believed the baby to be his, and maybe in that hospital, he found out that the baby wasn't his. I mean, but the thing about it is, we don't know how people gonna react to stuff like that. Like people gotta be honest. People gotta be honest, and they need to stop, playing on people's emotions, and doing things that cause people uh, to do things like this. Like I say, I'm not making no excuses for him. What he did was absolutely wrong. That young woman shouldn't have lost her life over whether she lied or not. That's not your decision. Um, but y'all know how I am about accountability in the game of life. In the game of life, each person needs to take accountability for their actions. And did she deserve to die? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's just sick and sad all the way around. And of course, you're going to have his family to defend him. You're going to have her family to defend her. And you're going to have his family to defend him. But in all grand scheme thing, in the whole grand scheme of things, that young lady is no longer here. He's no longer here. And that baby lost his or her mom and dad. You know? But let's continue listening. Hey, baby Ken.
If it wasn't his baby, yeah, that'll make a person snap. You know what I'm saying? But I still feel like lives shouldn't be taken. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so the father, he's telling people they're posting the wrong picture. They're posting his other daughter with him, and he's asking people to stop posting the wrong photos. So y'all know how it go. People be on the internet, especially Facebook, just posting this shit and don't verify a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let me go to another thing his dad was saying. Okay. Okay, he said, I've always told you that you're gonna be a heartbreaker, handsome, charming, and ambitious. I just didn't think you was gonna break them like this and so soon. This was supposed to be our time to be on top of the world. And from what I'm seeing, man, the daddy love his son, man. I mean, he really, really rock with him, like for real. And I don't think it's no game. I can feel a certain vibe from the daddy, like he really loved his son. But Another thing that he had to say. He said, medicine won't ease the pain. Weed can only get me high. I'm so numb without my point guard, bro. He said, I can't even come get you and bring you with me no more. And let me see. He asked people to quit talking about his son. What else? It's something else that I seen. Now I didn't see it on the uncle's page, but a blog site posted something, and they basically said that she was taking his money. Let me see if I can find that real quick too. Y'all bear with me, man. If I can't find it, don't be mad at me. Shit, I had to do a lot to even find out who they were. Okay, here you go. It says she took a lot from my nephew, drained his bank account when he got his money from the army. They married, so he felt betrayed. So it could possibly be about some money too. You know what I'm saying? And these are coming from direct sources, not no allegedly, not no all these rumors and shit. That's what they're saying. So who are we to say what the hell really took place? I just simply want to say it's an unfortunate situation. I don't feel like nobody should be taking nobody's life, but in certain situations, people will do so. So it is what it is. But I want to know your thoughts and opinions. I want to send my condolences to both families, and I hope that y'all can push through this. I know it's easier said than done. I'm just wishing y'all the best and sending y'all some healing energy. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this. We're gonna talk about this in the comment section, and I might be posting another video today. We're gonna talk about a lot of other things as well too. But yeah, I'll holler at y'all in the comments right now. All right.
Now I looked. I don't think he has a second video yet about this. I'll go back and look again, but I don't think he did a second one yet. But we're gonna watch one more on this one. Let me choose which one I'm gonna watch on this one. And I think I wanted to watch. Oh, let's try this one right here. Okay, and maybe give us a little bit more information. Okay.
Newborn baby had lost both parents. On March 1st, 2026, inside the Women's Center at Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital in Homewood, 24-year-old Precious Alicia Janae Johnson had just given birth to her first child. Family members were celebrating. Nurses were moving in and out. A brand new life had just entered the world. And then, gunshots shattered the silence. Within minutes, the entire hospital was on lockdown. Mothers were told to barricade inside their rooms. Staff rushed to shield newborn babies. Panic spread down the hallways of a place designed to protect life. By 9:29 p.m., Precious was dead. The man police say pulled the trigger was her 19-year-old husband. A newborn baby had lost both parents before ever leaving the hospital. But here's what makes this case even more chilling. What happened inside that room in the final minutes before the shooting? What was said? Was this planned? Or did something snap in an instant? And how does someone walk into a maternity ward with a weapon in the first place?
Oh, y'all, I've been on mute the whole time and I've been talking. What I was saying was I'm going to give y'all the name of the channel. I'm going to share them out on my community wall so y'all can go over and check them out. And let me shout the channel out. The name of the channel is called Homicide Insight. I'm sharing them out right now. If y'all will go over there and check them out. See if you like, subscribe if you feel it in your heart to do so. But go over there and check them out. It's called Homicide Insight. That's where this video is coming from. And I'm sharing the channel out on my community wall. It's done. Okay, let's listen.
This is the story of Precious Alicia Janae Johnson. She was 24 years old and from Birmingham, Alabama. She was a young wife, and on March 1st, she became a mother. There isn't a lot of public information about Precious as a person, what she liked, what she dreamed about, what her days looked like before all of this. And that
Hey, Miss Lynn, good to see you. Happy Wednesday.
absence is painful in its own way. Because in cases like this, victims often get reduced to a single moment, to the worst thing that happened to them. Precious deserves more than that. What we do know is this. She and Kainaf Terry had been married, but the marriage had been showing cracks. According to family members on both sides, the couple had been dealing with marital problems for some time. On the night she went into labor, one of those tensions surfaced almost immediately. She did not want Kainath's family at the hospital. She made that clear. And he didn't push back. He accepted it. That detail matters. Not because it explains what came later. Nothing explains what came later, but because it tells you something about the relationship. There was distance. There were things unsaid. And on the most significant night of their lives, those things were about to be said. Kainath William Terry Jr. was 19 years old. He grew up in Midfield, Alabama, a small community just outside Birmingham. By nearly every account from people who knew him, he was not the person you'd expect to end up at the center of a story like this. He was described as hardworking, responsible, the kind of young man who showed up. He'd done well in school, built a solid reputation, and after graduating, he joined a construction company. His mother was proud enough of that decision to post about it publicly. Shortly after, he enlisted in the Army National Guard and trained as a diesel mechanic. A real skill, the kind that builds a career. He worked long hours, sometimes more than 50 hours a week. And on the side, he cut hair to bring in extra money. Most of what he earned, he gave to Precious. Family members said he was generous to a fault, not just with her, but with relatives who needed help too. He was financially stable at 19, which is more than most people can say. When Precious became pregnant while he was working out of town, he was reportedly happy about it. Excited, even. On the night she went into labor, he was texting family members, telling them the baby had arrived, sharing pictures, looking by all appearances like a proud new father stepping into that role. So what happened? How does a young man who by every account was building something good, a career, a family, a future, end up making the worst and most permanent decision of his life inside a hospital room? That's what we need to understand. Precious and Kainatha's relationship followed a path that probably looked fairly normal from the outside. They dated, they got serious, they got married. When the pregnancy came, he was working away from home, and still, he was supportive. Or at least he appeared to be. But look closer and you start to see the weight of it. He was giving her nearly everything he earned. She was the one calling the shots in the relationship, deciding who could and couldn't be in that delivery room, drawing lines that he accepted without protest. Whether that dynamic was love or something else, it tells you that this relationship had an imbalance. He was deeply invested. Emotionally, financially, completely. That kind of investment can be beautiful. It can also be dangerous when it goes wrong. Because when someone has given everything they have to a relationship, their money, their time, their future, and then that foundation cracks, the emotional fall is enormous. That doesn't justify violence. Not even close. But if we want to understand how a seemingly good young man arrived at this moment, we have to look honestly at what was happening beneath the surface. Family members on his side later described feelings of betrayal and emotional manipulation, though none of that has been officially investigated or confirmed. What we do know is that by the time Precious went into labor, whatever was wrong between them had been building for a while. The night starts the way so many nights in a maternity ward do. A patient is brought in, labor is underway, the staff is doing what they're trained to do. Kainath Terry arrives at the hospital as a visitor. He is not screened for weapons at any point between entering the building and reaching that room. Inside the room, for a short window, things appear normal. He's texting family, sharing that the baby has arrived. Photos are being passed around. He looks, in those messages, like a young father who is exactly where he wants to be. But then something shifts. According to accounts shared publicly by family members after the fact, Precious told Kainath something inside that room. She told him he was not the father of the baby. We don't know exactly how that conversation unfolded. We don't know the tone, the words, what came before or after that statement. What we know is what happened next. Kainath retrieved a firearm. In the moments that followed, Precious Johnson was shot multiple times inside that hospital room. She died there, on the same night her child was born, in the same room where that child had just taken its first breath. Kainath then turned the gun on himself. Homewood police received the call at 9:25 p.m., shots fired inside Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital. When they arrived.
Hi, Miss Carla. So, happy Wednesday, Miss Carla. So, from what I'm hearing so far, she told him, because I was thinking to myself, okay, they do DNA tests inside. Uh, they take blood or whatever for the DNA test. By being as though she had just had the baby that night, there's no way that I can see that a DNA test was performed and came back that quick. So apparently she told him the baby wasn't his. But the sad part about it is, it could be his. Maybe she didn't know whether or not he was the father. Maybe she said that out of anger. Oh, I don't know. But if it wasn't verified, through DNA. I don't understand why he. Cause see, we already know women, girls, young women, women. They haul off and say that all the time to men, all the time. Ridiculous. See, too easy to get in. I don't know why he wasn't screened. That's ridiculous. Too easy to get in. Like I said, I got through. Okay, all right, Nicole. So yeah, my thing is, why not just wait and see? I don't know what else she said with it. I don't know how she said it or whatever. It's just crazy. This whole thing is crazy. But let's listen.
Both Precious and Kynath were found with gunshot wounds. The hospital was immediately placed on lockdown. Every floor, every wing, secured. Staff trying to process what had just happened. Patients behind locked doors. The lockdown lasted through the night. It was lifted the following morning. The newborn was not in the room during the shooting. The child was unharmed. Homewood police confirmed it quickly. This was a domestic murder-suicide. No other patients or staff were injured. The scene was isolated. Case closed in the formal sense. But there were questions that the investigation didn't answer, and some of them still haven't been answered. The most obvious one: how did a firearm get inside a hospital maternity ward? Kynath Terry walked into the Women's Medical Center as a visitor. He passed through whatever security existed at that entrance. Nobody flagged him. Nobody stopped him. And he had a gun on him. Less than 24 hours after the shooting, a journalist walked through the labor and delivery unit at Brookwood unchecked. No screening. No questions. Just walked right in. That detail is not a small thing. That detail tells you the security gap was real, and it didn't close the moment the lockdown ended. Here's what makes that worse. There are no security mandates for hospitals in the state of Alabama. None. Individual hospitals can choose to implement whatever screening measures they want, but there is no statewide requirement. A representative from the Alabama Hospital Association called this an isolated incident, and in her 30 years of experience, said she'd never seen anything like it. But she also acknowledged clearly that a lot would need to be learned from what happened that night. So we're left with a situation where a young woman was killed inside a hospital, a place specifically designed to be safe for vulnerable people, and the security system that should have prevented the weapon from ever entering that building simply wasn't there. Both families were destroyed by this. Kynath's mother spoke to reporters in the days after the shooting. She didn't want to appear on camera. She said she simply couldn't understand what happened, that her son had just finished his National Guard training, that he was married, that they were expecting a baby, and that none of it made sense to her. She knew he and Precious had been having problems. She didn't know it would ever come to this. She still can't comprehend that her son could be violent. That is a woman living inside an impossible grief, mourning a son who was also a killer. Both things are true at once, and there's no clean way to hold that. Online, the response was divided. Some people sympathized with Kynath, pointing to the alleged betrayal, the years of financial support, the emotional investment. They asked what anyone would feel in that moment. Others were firm and immovable. It doesn't matter. Nothing that was said in that room justified what he did. You don't get to take a life because you're in pain. You don't get to take a life because you were lied to. You walk away. You grieve. You rebuild. But you don't reach for a gun. Both of those conversations happened. And both of them missed the most important part of this story. That baby. The one born on March 1, 2026, at Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital. That child came into the world and within minutes, within the same hour, lost both parents. They will grow up with a story that is impossible to carry. Two names that will always come with weight. A beginning that was also an ending. That is the permanent cost of one irreversible moment. This case is being talked about as a crime of passion, as a betrayal gone wrong, as a failure of hospital security. All of those things are true. But there's something underneath all of it that doesn't get said enough. Domestic violence doesn't always look the way we picture it. It doesn't always look like bruises and emergency calls. Sometimes it builds quietly, in financial control, in emotional dependency, in the kind of tension that everyone around a couple can sense but nobody names. And sometimes, it ends in a hospital room on the night a baby is born. Maternity wards are one of the most underdiscussed spaces when it comes to domestic violence risk. The birth of a child is one of the most emotionally volatile moments in any relationship, and for couples already in conflict, that volatility doesn't pause because you're in a hospital. It follows you in. And when there are no security measures in place to stop a weapon from walking through the door with a visitor, the result can be exactly what happened on March 1st. These are the conversations that need to happen. Not just about this case, but about all the cases we don't hear about until it's too late. There's a version of March 1st, 2026 that could have gone differently. A version where Kynath heard what Precious said, felt the devastation of it, and left that room. Where he called someone, his mother, a friend, anyone. Where he gave himself time.
Or just even wait for paternity results. You know what I'm saying? What did she say to him other than the baby, was not his? Maybe that was his breaking point. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, a mouth can say anything. Words, I know words hurt a lot of people, but, a mouth can say anything. Did he really truly believe, if she said that to him, that the baby could not be his? Or maybe it was a question the whole time she was pregnant. This guy did say that he was working out of town, right? During the time that she got pregnant. Um, so maybe, the time wasn't adding up or something. Maybe it had been a question the entire time she was pregnant. Who knows? I guess at this point, nobody's gonna honestly, truly know. I don't even know how they know what was said, unless she said it and they argued a while, and he maybe texted to somebody that she had said that. I don't even understand how they can say what was said in that room before he did what he did. Like I said, maybe there was some text messages or something going out to family members. I don't know. Um, I don't know.
To breathe before making any kind of decision, where his child grew up knowing their father. That version didn't happen. And nothing, no amount of grief, no amount of betrayal, no amount of anger, changes the fact that he made a choice. In that final moment, he made a choice. And 2 people died because of it. Violence cannot undo hurt. It cannot fix heartbreak. It only creates permanent loss. What are your thoughts on this case? What do you believe should have happened differently? Do emotions ever justify irreversible decisions? Let us know in the comments below. And if you or someone you know is inside a relationship filled with tension, fear, or conflict, please reach out. Talk to someone you trust. Step back before things escalate. Because once a life is taken, there is no coming back from that. On the morning of September 2nd, 2022, in Memphis, a woman laced up her running shoes in the pre-dawn dark.
Okay, that's the second story they covered. So I don't know anything about that one. So let me see. Let's see. We can go to another one. Let me remove that one if I can. Yeah, I'm gonna remove that one. And I'm gonna remove colors. We got a little bit more from that one, but I don't think it's too much that people know about this case. Yeah, I don't think it's too much that could be said, being as though they both are gone. Let's try this.
Arrives. Nurses typically move
And of course, y'all know we're gonna hear some of the same things over.
on what should have been the happiest night of their lives.
Of course, we're gonna hear some of the same things over because that's how it goes when I react to these videos. There's a lot of repetitiveness, but it's okay. This channel is LAT True Crime Story, and I'm gonna share them out on my wall if y'all want to go over there and check them out. Shout out to them for this video. Let's listen. If y'all got any questions so far that I can answer, put them in the chat. Make sure you double tap the screen, like the live. I appreciate y'all being here, and let's listen.
Into the world. Inside the Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital in Homewood, Alabama, doctors and nurses worked through the evening, helping a 24-year-old woman bring new life into the world. Her name was Precious Johnson. For months, she had been preparing for this moment. The moment she would finally meet the baby she had carried for 9 months. Family members were expecting joy, celebration, and the beginning of a new chapter. And for a brief time, that's exactly what happened. Precious delivered her baby. A healthy newborn had entered the world. But what unfolded next would shock an entire community and quickly make national headlines. Late that night, around 9:30 p.m., police in Homewood received reports of gunshots inside the hospital's women's center. Officers rushed to the scene, unsure of what they were about to find. Hospitals are supposed to be places of healing, places where life begins, not places where violence erupts. When officers arrived, they discovered 2 people suffering from gunshot wounds. One of them was Precious Johnson, the same young mother who had just given birth only hours earlier. The other was her husband. Investigators quickly identified him as Kynaf William Terry Jr., just 19 years old. According to authorities, Johnson had been shot multiple times inside her hospital room shortly after delivering the couple's first child. Police believe Terry then turned the gun on himself in what investigators described as a domestic murder-suicide. The newborn baby survived, but within moments of entering the world, that child lost both parents.
The hospital was temporarily placed on lockdown as police secured the scene and tried to understand how such a tragedy could happen inside a medical facility where families expect safety. News of the incident spread quickly throughout Alabama and across the country. How could a moment meant to celebrate life turn into such devastating loss? Friends and family members struggled to process the unimaginable reality. According to reports, the couple had been experiencing marital difficulties in the time leading up to the birth, though relatives said they never expected the situation to turn violent. Now investigators were left with the heartbreaking timeline. A woman arrives at the hospital to deliver her child. She successfully brings new life into the world. And before the night is over, her life is taken inside the very room where that child was born. This case raises difficult questions about relationships, emotional conflict, and the fragile line between joy and tragedy. Tonight, we're going to walk through the full story. Who Precious Johnson was before that night, what investigators say happened inside that hospital room, and how a moment that began with new life ended in a tragedy that would forever change the life of a newborn child. Because sometimes, the most shocking stories are the ones that begin in places where we expect to feel the safest. Welcome to Lat True Crime Stories. I am your host. In this video, we are breaking down one of the most twisted cases you've ever seen. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and leave your comment to tell us where you're watching from. Let's build this community together. Now let's get into it. Before the headlines, before the police reports, and before the tragedy that shocked a hospital community in Homewood, Precious Johnson was a young woman standing at the beginning of a new chapter in her life. At just 24 years old, Precious was preparing to become a mother. For months, her world had revolved around the anticipation.
So to me, honestly, red flag number one. He was 19, she was 24. He was 19, she was 24. Okay.
Of meeting her baby, doctor appointments, planning for the future, and imagining what life would look like once her child arrived. Friends and family described the time leading up to the birth as one filled with the normal hopes and anxieties that come with pregnancy. Like many expectant parents, Precious had been looking ahead to a moment that countless families celebrate every day, the birth of a child. That moment finally arrived at Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital, where Precious was admitted to deliver her baby. Hospitals like Brookwood's Women's Center are designed to be places of care and comfort. It's where families gather to welcome newborns, where nurses guide new mothers through the first hours of parenthood, and where life's most emotional milestones unfold. For Precious, that day was supposed to be one of the most important days of her life. And for a brief moment it was. She successfully gave birth to her child, a healthy newborn who would represent the start of an entirely new future. But Precious's story was not only about motherhood. It was also about the complicated reality of relationships. Precious was married to Kynaf William Terry Jr., a 19-year-old man who, according to reports, was the father of the newborn child. The two had been navigating their relationship while preparing for the arrival of their baby. For young couples.
Let me check it, Nicole. I'm sure you did. Thank you in advance. I'm going to check it. I got to get my other device. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I appreciate it, boo.
The transition into parenthood can be both exciting and stressful. Financial pressures, emotional changes, and the responsibilities of raising a child can test even the strongest relationships. According to reports that emerged after the tragedy, there had been signs that the relationship between Precious and Terry had been experiencing difficulties in the time leading up to the birth. Family members later indicated that the couple had been dealing with tension and disagreements. While details about the full nature of those conflicts remain limited, those close to the situation suggested that the relationship had become strained. Still, like many couples expecting a child together, the hope remained that the arrival of their baby might mark a fresh start. For Precious, the focus appeared to remain on motherhood. The hours leading up to childbirth are often filled with exhaustion, anticipation, and relief once the baby finally arrives. Nurses typically move new mothers into recovery rooms, where they can rest and begin bonding with their newborn. That was the stage Precious had reached. She had gone through the physical demands of childbirth. Her baby had entered the world, and she was now a new mother recovering inside a hospital room, the very place where families normally begin celebrating the first moments of a child's life. What no one inside that hospital could have predicted was that the joy of that moment would soon be overshadowed by unimaginable tragedy. For the staff inside the Women's Center, it was supposed to be another routine night of caring for new mothers and newborn babies. But behind the doors of one hospital room, a situation was quietly building, one that investigators would later say involved the very person who should have been sharing that moment of joy. The young husband and father, the man identified as Kynaf William Terry Jr., in the hours after Precious delivered her child. Terry was present at the hospital. What happened next would turn what should have been the beginning of a family story into a case that would shock not only the hospital staff, but the entire community surrounding Birmingham. Because the life Precious had just helped bring into the world was about to be overshadowed by a devastating act of violence. And within hours of becoming a mother, the life of Precious Johnson would come to a tragic end, inside the same hospital room where her child had just been born.
Homewood police say at around 9:30 Sunday night, officers responded to an apparent murder-suicide at Brookwood Hospital. This morning, the Jefferson County Coroner's Office confirmed the two dead to be 19-year-old Kenneth Terry Jr. and 24-year-old Precious Johnson. Police say this is being investigated as a domestic incident.
It's highly likely that based off of what we see in murder-suicides and the escalation of violence during pregnancy and postpartum is often tied to a diminishing amount of power and control that this person felt like they had. On their partner.
Police say no one else was injured, but this incident has raised concerns about overall security in hospitals. Experts say this is an isolated incident, and many hospitals in Alabama have security plans in place.
We will take this opportunity, just like we do any other time that there is an event, for there to be a minute to breathe and have an after action look and lessons learned, and see, as best practices are shared with the hospital community, where we may need to start focusing on enhancing some things.
McWilliams says this event shows that domestic violence is not just an issue in the home, but a health and safety concern for the community.
Homicide is actually the leading cause of death in pregnant and postpartum women, much higher than any sort of medical complication. Pregnant women are truly in danger at the hands of their partners.
As we proceed,
I got it, Nicole. Thank you so much, sweetheart. I appreciate that.
Into the story, we'll walk through the timeline of that night, the moment when celebration turned into chaos, and how a hospital room meant for recovery became the center of a heartbreaking investigation. Inside the maternity ward of Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital, the atmosphere that day was the same as it is for thousands of families every year. Quiet anticipation, careful medical attention, and the emotional buildup that comes with welcoming a newborn. For Precious Johnson, the moment she had been waiting for had finally arrived. After months of pregnancy, doctor visits, and preparing for motherhood, she was admitted to the hospital to deliver her baby. Like most expectant mothers, the hours leading up to delivery were likely filled with both exhaustion and excitement. Nurses and medical staff moved carefully through the maternity unit, monitoring patients, assisting families, and helping bring new life safely into the world. Eventually, the long process of labor came to an end. Precious Johnson gave birth to a baby. For a brief time, everything unfolded exactly the way it was supposed to. A newborn had arrived. Doctors confirmed the child was healthy, and Precious had officially become a mother. Moments like that are often filled with relief and joy. Families take photos, make phone calls, and begin introducing the world to the newest member of their lives. But in this case, the celebration was quiet and private. Precious was moved into a recovery room inside the hospital's women's center, where new mothers typically rest after childbirth while nurses check on both mother and baby. Not far away in the hospital corridors, other families were experiencing similar moments: newborn cries, relieved parents, and the gentle rhythm of hospital staff caring for patients. Inside Precious's room, the baby she had just delivered was now part of the world she had spent months preparing for. Also present at the hospital that evening was Kenneth William Terry Jr., Precious's 19-year-old husband and the father of the child. For many couples, the hours following a birth are some of the most emotional of their lives. It's a time when parents meet their child face-to-face for the first time and begin imagining the future ahead. But according to later reports, the relationship between Precious and Terry had already been under strain in the weeks leading up to the birth. Family members would later indicate that the couple had been dealing with ongoing tensions and disagreements. Even so, nothing about the situation that evening suggested what was about to happen next. From the perspective of hospital staff and nearby patients, it was simply another night inside a maternity unit, a place where families begin new chapters. But as the evening moved forward, something inside that hospital room would change. What began as a moment defined by life and new beginnings would soon be interrupted by violence, something no one inside the maternity ward could have imagined happening in a place meant to protect both mothers and newborns. Within hours of giving birth, the life of Precious Johnson would take a devastating turn, and the hospital room that had just welcomed a new child into the world would soon become the center of a tragedy that would shock the entire community surrounding Homewood. In the next part of this story, we'll walk through the timeline of the night, the moment when the quiet halls of the hospital were suddenly broken by a sound no one expected to hear inside a maternity ward. The evening inside the maternity wing of Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital had begun like any other. Nurses moved quietly through the corridors, checking on patients. New mothers rested in their recovery rooms. Some families were celebrating the arrival of newborn babies, while others were preparing for the long nights that come with caring for a child in their very first hours of life. Inside one of those rooms was Precious Johnson, who had just experienced one of the most life-changing moments a person can have. She had given birth. Her newborn child had arrived safely. For a brief moment, the focus in that room was what it should have been: a mother recovering from childbirth and a baby beginning its first hours of life. Also inside the hospital that evening was Precious's husband, Kynaf William Terry Jr. At just 19 years old, Terry had become a father that night. For most couples, the hours after a birth are emotional but hopeful, a time when parents meet their baby, take photos, and begin adjusting to the reality of becoming a family. But according to investigators, something inside that hospital room shifted as the evening went on. What exactly happened in the moments leading up to the tragedy has not been fully detailed publicly, but authorities would later confirm that violence erupted inside the maternity unit. Shortly after 9:30 p.m., the calm atmosphere of the hospital was shattered. Reports of gunfire began spreading through the building. Hospital staff and visitors immediately realized something was terribly wrong. Hospitals are places where security is taken seriously, but they are also open environments where patients, visitors, and families move in and out throughout the day. When the sound of gunshots echoed through the Women's Center, confusion and fear spread quickly among those inside the facility. Emergency protocols were triggered almost immediately. Security personnel and hospital staff worked to secure the area, while local police were contacted. Officers from the Homewood Police Department rushed toward the hospital after reports of a shooting inside the building. When officers arrived at the scene, they moved quickly to locate where the gunfire had occurred. What they discovered inside one of the hospital rooms was devastating. Precious Johnson, the young mother who had just given birth hours earlier, had been shot multiple times. Medical staff attempted to respond immediately, but the injuries were severe. Inside that same room was Kynaf Terry. According to investigators, Terry had also suffered a gunshot wound, one that authorities believe he inflicted on himself after shooting his wife. Police later described the situation as a murder-suicide. Despite the immediate response from medical professionals already inside the hospital, both Precious Johnson and Kynaf Terry died from their injuries. The hospital quickly went into lockdown as authorities worked to secure the building and ensure there was no further threat to patients or staff. Officers carefully searched the area while investigators began documenting the scene. For those inside the hospital that night, nurses, patients, and visitors, the experience was deeply unsettling. Maternity wards are normally filled with joy, relief, and the sound of newborn babies crying for the first time. But that night, the environment was suddenly filled with shock and disbelief. Perhaps the most heartbreaking part of the entire situation was the newborn child. Just hours earlier, that baby had entered the world, surrounded by medical staff, focused on protecting both mother and child. Now, within the same night, that child had lost both parents. The infant survived the tragedy and was immediately cared for by hospital staff. As investigators continued working inside the hospital, the reality of what had happened began spreading beyond the building. News crews arrived outside the hospital. Police vehicles surrounded the entrance, and a community that had expected another ordinary night suddenly found itself grappling with an unimaginable story. A mother who had just given birth, a father who had become a parent that same evening, and a newborn child whose life had begun with a devastating loss. In the hours that followed, investigators would begin piecing together what led to the shooting and why the events of that night unfolded the way they did. But the damage had already been done. What should have been remembered as the night a family welcomed a child into the world had instead become a tragedy that would leave an entire community asking one painful question. How could something like this happen in a place meant to protect life? In the immediate aftermath of the tragedy inside Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital, investigators moved quickly to secure the scene and began answering the many questions surrounding the deaths of Precious Johnson and Kynaf William Terry Jr. When officers from the Homewood Police Department arrived at the hospital, the building was already in lockdown. Hospital security had taken immediate action after reports of gunfire, restricting movement throughout the maternity wing to ensure the safety of staff, patients, and visitors. For investigators, the first priority was determining whether the threat had ended. Once officers confirmed that the incident involved only 2 individuals inside a single hospital room, they began the detailed process of documenting the scene. Inside that room, police found the bodies of Precious Johnson and Kynaf Terry. Investigators quickly located the firearm believed to have been used in the shooting. According to early findings, the weapon was recovered near Terry's body. Based on the evidence at the scene and the initial timeline gathered from hospital staff, detectives began forming a preliminary understanding of what had happened. Authorities concluded that Precious Johnson had been shot multiple times inside the hospital room shortly after delivering her child. Investigators believe Terry then turned the weapon on himself, resulting in his own death. While the medical staff inside the hospital had responded immediately, the injuries were fatal. Detectives began interviewing witnesses who had been inside the maternity unit that evening. Nurses, doctors, and hospital staff were asked to recount what they had seen or heard in the moments leading up to the shooting. Some described hearing sudden loud noises that initially caused confusion, since gunfire is something no one expects to hear inside a hospital. Others spoke about the rapid response from hospital security and medical teams who rushed toward the room once the situation became clear. Investigators also reviewed security footage from the hospital to better understand the timeline of events. Hospitals are equipped with surveillance systems that monitor entrances, hallways, and common areas. Detectives carefully examined recordings to determine when Kynaf Terry arrived at the facility and how he moved through the building before the shooting occurred. Authorities later confirmed that Terry had been present at the hospital with Precious Johnson following the birth of their child earlier that day. Because both individuals involved in the shooting had died, investigators focused heavily on reconstructing the circumstances that led to the violence. That included speaking with relatives and people who knew the couple. Family members later indicated that the relationship between Johnson and Terry had been experiencing significant strain in the weeks before the birth of their child. According to reports, the couple had been dealing with ongoing disagreements and personal conflicts. While investigators did not release extensive details about the nature of those disputes, authorities acknowledged that the incident appeared to be the result of a domestic situation that escalated inside the hospital room. Meanwhile, the hospital administration issued statements confirming that the newborn baby survived the incident and was safe. For hospital staff, the emotional weight of the situation was profound. Medical professionals who dedicate their careers to saving lives suddenly found themselves responding to a violent event inside a space meant to protect mothers and infants. The tragedy also sparked discussions about hospital security and visitor policies in maternity wards, where families often move in and out of patient rooms during visiting hours. But even as those broader conversations began, investigators remained focused on piecing together the final timeline of that night, from the birth of the child, to the presence of the father in the hospital room, to the moment the gunfire erupted. By the time authorities completed their initial investigation, the conclusion they reached was heartbreaking but clear. A young mother who had just given birth had been killed inside her hospital room. Her husband, the father of a newborn child, was responsible, and within hours of the birth of their baby, both parents were gone. The investigation may have established a sequence of events, but it could never undo the devastating outcome, because the story that began with the arrival of a new life had ended with an unimaginable loss, one that would shape the future of the child left behind. As investigators worked to piece together the events inside Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital, one question quickly became central to understanding the tragedy. What was happening in the relationship between Precious Johnson and Kynaf William Terry Jr. before that night? For many observers, the situation was difficult to comprehend. A couple had just welcomed their first child into the world, a moment that usually represents hope, family, and a new beginning. Yet within hours of that birth, the situation had turned into a devastating act of violence. According to reports that emerged following the investigation, the relationship between Johnson and Terry had been facing significant strain in the weeks and months leading up to the birth of their child. Friends and relatives indicated that the couple had experienced ongoing disagreements. While the exact details of those conflicts were not fully disclosed publicly, investigators acknowledged that tensions in the relationship appeared to have been building over time. For young couples, the transition into parenthood can be one of the most stressful periods in a relationship. Financial responsibilities, emotional pressure, and the sudden reality of caring for a newborn can create intense strain. Even couples with strong support systems often find the experience overwhelming. In this case, both individuals were very young. Precious Johnson was 24 years old and preparing for the life-changing role of becoming a mother. Her husband, Kynaf Terry, was only 19, at an age when many people are still figuring out their path in life. Terry had suddenly become a husband and a father. Investigators believe that the stress surrounding their relationship may have played a role in what unfolded inside the hospital room. Reports suggested that the couple had been dealing with personal disagreements leading up to the birth. While there was no public record of previous violent incidents between them, people familiar with the situation indicated that the relationship had become emotionally difficult. It is not uncommon for unresolved conflicts to intensify during major life transitions, and the arrival of a child is one of the most significant changes a couple can face. Still, nothing about those tensions suggested that the situation would escalate into the violence that occurred that night. To the outside world, the birth of their baby should have been a moment of celebration. Family members were expecting joy, phone calls announcing the arrival of the newborn, and the beginning of a new chapter for the young couple. Instead, the community surrounding Homewood found itself grappling with a tragedy that few could fully understand. Experts who study domestic violence often point out that major life events, such as pregnancy, childbirth, or relationship breakups, can sometimes act as emotional pressure points. When conflicts already exist, those moments can intensify feelings of stress, insecurity, or fear about the future. Investigators did not release a detailed motive explaining exactly what happened in the final moments before the shooting. Because both individuals involved died, there were no direct statements explaining the confrontation that may have occurred inside the hospital room. What authorities were able to confirm, however, was the devastating outcome. A disagreement or conflict inside that room escalated into gunfire, and within minutes, 2 lives were gone. For families and friends of Precious Johnson, the loss was particularly painful because it happened at a moment that should have been one of the happiest days of her life. She had just become a mother. Her child had just entered the world. But instead of beginning the journey of raising that child, her life was cut short only hours after giving birth. The tragedy also left behind an even more heartbreaking reality: a newborn baby who would grow up without either parent. As the community tried to process what had happened, many people were left reflecting on how quickly moments of celebration can turn into moments of unimaginable loss, and how a night that should have marked the beginning of a family story instead became the final chapter for two young lives. In the hours after the tragedy, the quiet suburb of Homewood woke up to a story that many residents struggled to believe. A shooting inside a hospital is rare, but a shooting inside a maternity ward, just hours after a child was born, felt almost unimaginable. Outside Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital, police vehicles remained parked as investigators continued documenting the scene. Yellow tape marked areas where officers had been working through the night. News crews gathered nearby as reporters began sharing details about what had happened. For hospital staff, the emotional impact was immediate. Doctors and nurses who had spent the day helping bring new life into the world suddenly found themselves dealing with the aftermath of violence inside the very place designed to protect mothers and babies. Many staff members were deeply shaken. Medical professionals are trained to respond to emergencies, but incidents like this are far outside the normal expectations of hospital life. For many of them, the maternity ward represents hope, a place where families celebrate new beginnings. That night, it became the setting of an unimaginable tragedy. Hospital administrators later confirmed that the newborn child survived and was safe. The baby was immediately placed under the care of medical staff, while authorities notified family members. For relatives of Precious Johnson, the shock was overwhelming. Only hours earlier, they had been expecting joyful phone calls announcing the birth of a new family member. Instead, they were confronted with the devastating news that Precious had lost her life. Friends described her as someone who had been excited about becoming a mother and preparing for the future she hoped to build with her child. Now, that future had been taken away. The tragedy also sparked conversations across the community about domestic conflicts, emotional stress, and the importance of support during major life changes like pregnancy and childbirth. Situations involving relationships can sometimes hide deeper struggles that are not always visible from the outside. And when those struggles reach a breaking point, the consequences can affect not only the people directly involved, but also families, children, and entire communities. For many people in Homewood, the most heartbreaking part of the story remained the newborn child. A baby who had just entered the world had already experienced an unimaginable loss. Within the same night of their birth, both parents were gone. As the investigation concluded and the hospital returned to its normal operations, one truth remained impossible to ignore. What should have been remembered as a day of celebration had instead become a story of grief, and the entire community was left hoping that the child at the center of the tragedy would one day grow up surrounded by the love and support that both parents would no longer be there to provide. Stories like this are difficult to hear. They challenge our understanding of how quickly life can change, and how moments that begin with hope can sometimes end in heartbreak. For Precious Johnson, the night should have been one of the most meaningful moments of her life. She had just given birth. A new child had entered the world. A new chapter was supposed to begin. But instead, that same night became the end of her story. Investigators say the violence carried out by Kynaf William Terry Jr. ended two lives inside a place that exists to protect life. And in the middle of that tragedy is a newborn child, a life that had only just begun. Cases like this remind us that behind every headline is a family, a community, and people whose lives are forever changed. Precious Johnson was not just a name in a news report. She was a daughter. She was a friend. And on that day, she had just become a mother. The tragedy that happened inside Baptist Health Brookwood Hospital will likely be remembered for years by those who were there. But beyond the shock of the event itself, there is also a deeper reminder. Relationships, emotional struggles, and personal conflicts can sometimes escalate in ways that no one expects. And when warning signs are ignored or unresolved tensions grow too heavy, the consequences can be devastating. If there's anything that stories like this should encourage, it is the importance of communication, support, and intervention before situations reach a breaking point. Because every life affected by violence represents a future that was never allowed to unfold. As this story continues to be remembered, many people are choosing to focus on the life that was just beginning. The newborn child who survived the night that changed everything. A child who will grow up hearing about the mother who loved them before they were even born. And perhaps that is the most powerful reminder of all. Life can begin even in the middle of tragedy, but the responsibility of protecting that life belongs to all of us. If you believe stories like this deserve to be told with care and respect, consider subscribing to the channel and sharing this video. It helps bring attention to real cases, real victims, and...
Okay, y'all, so that's it on that one. Y'all go over and support. I shared it out on my wall. The Lat True Crime Story. Okay, we're going to move to the next story. I don't know. Let me stop this for a minute. And go to that playlist. I don't know if y'all have heard. Well, I'm sure y'all have. I'm just sure y'all have heard about this next story. It's the two young girls, the two toddlers, that were found in a suitcase, allegedly placed there by their mother. We're gonna start it today, and we'll probably do some more on it tomorrow. Let me get to it. I think the name was Aaliyah Henderson is the mom. Mm-hmm. Like I said, if y'all got any questions, place them in the chat, and I can answer it. Do y'all have any questions about the story I just covered? There's not much as far as that story is concerned. Like, I just wanted to bring awareness about the story, but it's pretty much, the coverage or whatever. Unless something comes out to whereas, somebody knows for sure why he did what he did or whatever. I'm going to check for updates, but I'm pretty sure there's not going to be any. But if there are, we'll talk about it. But, being as though both of them are gone, I don't think too much is going to be said about it. Let me find which video we're going to react to first as far as this Aaliyah Henderson. I think I'm going to start with, we'll do Carlos first. We're going to do Carlos, and if we have time, we'll do Shanitra. But if not, of course, we'll be back tomorrow on this one because this is an ongoing, this one is ongoing, y'all. So, shout out to Carlos King. Y'all go over and support his channel, which I think most of you already do. Check him out. I absolutely love his channel. Hold on, Carlos. Hold on. Let me pull you up, sir. Yeah. That story is something else. And so is this one. Let me bring it back up. All right, shout out to Carlos King. We're gonna get into his reaction to this story in the case of Aaliyah Henderson.
Say it. Say it. Photos and videos of a young girl named Mila with $1 million smile are being shared with Fox 8 for the first time. A man who says he is her father says she is one of the victims.
For 5 years, I've been calling CPS, going to the courts, trying to get emergency custody.
The suitcase. I've been walking past it for about a week now because I take my dog. I stay right here. I take my dog. I usually walk her through there and then come around here.
All right, what's up with YouTube fam? I'm back again with another video, right? So listen, this situation right here is big, and I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all have seen it, but a lot of y'all haven't.
Y'all let me know if it's too fast. I've sped it up a little bit just so we can get as much as we can before I have to end it. So y'all let me know in the chat if I need to slow it down, okay? Let me know if it's too fast, because I do want y'all to understand what's being said, all right? All right.
A couple things down. In this video, I will have the press conference when they initially found the children, and they broke down what they had at the time as far as evidence. They didn't have too much. After this, I'll be showing y'all the body cam footage of the police officers that went out there and seen what they seen. And also, I got all of the updated details in the front, but I know a lot of people like me want to see basically damn near everything. So just watch the video all the way through. You'll see everything that you want to see about it. But basically, man, long story short, I want to start this out by saying RIP to these beautiful children. I've only seen one picture of one child, but there were 2 children that were found. Now, it's a lot of topics being spoken on without actually taking the time out just to go look it up and see what the hell is going on. But basically, the main question is, where is the father? Where is he at? Where is he at? That's what everybody's saying. Where the dad? Where the dad? They do that all the time, but they really asking now. And basically, the father is stating, I don't know if I put that in the beginning of the video, but I'm gonna still say it regardless if I did or if I didn't. He said that he has been trying to see his child for 5 years. I don't know how true that is, but I know it may be some truth to what he's saying because he seems so sincere and genuine. Some people were talking about his demeanor, like he was calm and shit, but everybody handles things differently. And also, certain things take time to hit you. So he can be over there being cool, calm, and collected, and then grief start kicking in and he'll break down. But they're asking where he's at. He said he called CPS. He said he went to the courts. He did a lot of different things to try to get his child. And he also stated that if it was too much for her to have his child, then he would, come get the baby. The other dad, he didn't show his face. He didn't say anything as I've, been looking through certain documentations and things like that. But basically, he said that they both love those kids and they would have did anything that they had to do for them. So for her to be running around, skip, jumping, and hopping to different cities and avoiding real dads is crazy to me. But one of the most craziest things about the situation is that it was another child in the house, living and flourishing. I don't know if that's her new man's child or what, but it's crazy to take your own kids out, but you have someone else's child right there with you. It's crazy to me. But you know, another thing that people are talking about is, but if she was missing when they already know that those were the two children, the thing is that's not the truth. They didn't even know she was like harboring the children. She didn't report them missing and things like that. They said that they were decomposed a lot from being where they were for so long. But the way that they were found was the dog. The dog that, well, it was a guy that was walking with his dog, and when the dog picked up on the scent, the dog started acting kind of weird, according to the owner of the animal. And you know, he said he knew it was something. So he seen the suitcases, he picked up the suitcase, and he see what he see. You know, and it's just sad and unfortunate that these kids got to go through all of this weird shit. And you know, I don't want to use mental health with every single situation, and I'm definitely not one of those to talk down on it, because I was dealing with my own depression and stuff like that years ago. But everything can be blamed on it. A lot of these people be, you know, hurt.
I agree with him. I think a lot of people think in order to do something like this, especially for a mom. Really, Nicole? Oh, okay. I'm glad I could bring it to you, sweetie. You know, we place mental health on a lot, and a lot is due to not mental health, but mental illness. Mental illness. But sometimes, a lot of times, it's sad to say people are just evil. And I think, to me, honestly, I'll be the first one to say that a lot of people try to use mental illness as a scapegoat or a defense or whatever. But I think you have to be some type of I think you have to be mentally ill as a mom. That's just because I know how I feel about my kids and know that there's no way. Hold on. I think you have to have some form of mental illness for a mom, especially, or dad, or any adult to unalive a child. I don't know. So I'm kind of conflicted with this one. I'm kind of conflicted with the whole mental illness as a defense or whatever, or a reason or an excuse. I just gotta listen to this and see exactly, what took place. But y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think as we listen to this story. Let's listen.
And different things happen for different reasons. So yeah, I'm not ruling it out, but I'm simply saying we just can't give a license to that every single time when it comes to a situation. So let's get into these updates, and then, like I said, I got the other video at the back and the body cam footage. Let's go.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We begin with breaking news. This evening, a 28-year-old woman has been arrested, charged in connection to the deaths of two young girls found inside suitcases on Cleveland's east side.
Aaliyah Henderson, who you see there on your screen, is now facing charges as investigators work to piece together the circumstances of this horrific discovery. Now, the Clydesdale spoke to a man who claims to be one of the girls' fathers. He shares his heartbreak, his frustrations, and the questions he still has.
I hate you. I'm selfish. You're a monster.
A man who says he's the father of one of the young girls found inside suitcases, partially buried in a field in Cleveland's Collinwood neighborhood, has strong words for the woman police say is responsible.
You had help. You had support. You didn't want to take it.
On Thursday, Cleveland police announced 28-year-old Aaliyah Henderson has been charged in the gut-wrenching case.
How you doing, sir?
Police were called near East 162nd Street and Midland Avenue, right next to Ginn Academy, just after 6 o'clock Monday night, after a dog walker made the grim discovery.
It's a suitcase. I've been walking past it for about a week now, and I walk my dog over there, and she keeps stopping, and she sniffed a little too long. I pulled it up, unzipped it. I couldn't really see, and I opened it up. Yeah.
Officers later found a second shallow grave nearby, with another suitcase containing the feet of a second young girl. Investigators say the victims were 10-year-old Amar Wilson and 8-year-old Mila Chapman. DNA testing revealed they were half-sisters.
I remember them building tents in the living room and making pallets on the floor and having the girls like just doing stuff like being kids.
Deshaun Chapman told 3 News he had been trying for years to gain custody. He says both fathers offered to take the girls in, but claim they were unable to locate the mother.
I love both of them. Both of them don't deserve this.
Police say detectives have recovered substantial evidence in the case. Cleveland City Councilman Mike Polenzek, who represents the ward where this happened, says the arrest brings a small measure of comfort to the community.
The community is relieved but saddened. There's 2 young children that are gone. Their whole future is gone. We have no idea what happened, what they went through toward the end of their lives.
Polensik also noted the girls were allegedly homeschooled and lived in what appeared to be a well-kept house. But he says many questions still remain.
Hopefully now we can get to the bottom of what happened, exactly what happened here, and these kids can rest in peace.
Police say Henderson is facing 2 counts of aggravated. The cause and manner of the girls are still under investigation. Meanwhile, a child was located inside the home where Henderson was arrested and appeared to be in good health. The Department of Children and Family Services has since taken custody.
I just cannot imagine for this family. Thank you so much.
Now that Aliyah Henderson has been charged with, we wanted to know, who is she?
Has she been arrested before? What is her background? Our Cole Molesky spent the day looking for those answers.
Here's the mugshot of Aliyah Henderson. Records from the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office show she was booked into the county jail just before 8:30 Wednesday night, and this is the only time she has been booked into the jail. We dug into her background and found Henderson does not appear to have a criminal history. Court records show Henderson was evicted in 2022 from a Park Hill address. The landlord accused her of not paying rent from September to November of 2021. In her lease document, it shows Henderson reported living with 2 girls. Going back further, records show Henderson changed her last name in 2017. Here is the birth certificate showing the name Aliyah Brannick and paperwork of the name change to Aliyah Henderson. Cleveland police are now charging Henderson with 2 counts of aggravated. The department has not clarified her connection to the girls. Now, I've also reached out to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District to see if Henderson or the children listed in her old lease ever attended Cleveland schools. In the newsroom, Cole Molesky, 19 News.
Also tonight, heartbreak and anger from the man who says one of those little girls was his.
Can you imagine? Our Harry Boomer was there for the emotional moment when he came to that scene.
I'm sitting here near both of the shallow graves. When I was out here a couple of hours ago, there were very few stuffed animals. But as you can see here, and at the other one about 25 feet away, lots of stuffed animals. And yes, Deshaun Chapman was overcome with grief and anger as he comes to terms with the terrible truth. His precious little girl is probably found right over here in those shallow graves that I mentioned to you. Deshaun Chapman walking slowly in the rain toward the shallow grave where he says his daughter was buried.
I've been looking for my daughter for 5 years. I've been calling CPS, going to the courts, trying to get emergency custody, calling the police for welfare checks, but they did not all access.
The 8.5-year-old.
Now, if he genuinely did all of that, they dropped the ball, they let the baby down. That's some weirdo shit. And he said he had to do, police reports basically and everything like that. And for them not to follow.
I agree with callers, and I agree. That's a shame. That's a shame. For 5 years, that man, if that's true, what he's saying, went through all those measures, and those, and those little girls still ended up because, the fact of the matter is, a lot of times the state do drop the ball. It's just a fact. It is a well-known fact that the state drops the ball a lot of time when it comes to these kids, and it's sad.
But with, determination, not having the drive to get out there and get that in, it's crazy to me. People get paid just to ride in the AC, but they don't want to take certain things seriously. And I'm telling you, if a lot of people were taken care of when things started happening, and we know this, if they actually hand out the correct types of punishment for the things that people do, people won't be moving like this. But if they also took advantage to the tips that they're getting from different people and fathers and mothers and shit like that too, they should take heed to that and try to act on it as soon as possible, because these babies had a chance, but they didn't because of what took place. If what he's saying is true. But let's get back into it.
And he was partially buried in a suitcase at the edge of a field behind Gann Academy in South Collinwood. Chapman says he's working with police right now to prove he was the father of one of the little girls.
I'm still in contact with the detectives. We're doing the DNA samples, so I get more details within the next couple of days.
Chapman says the girl's mother has been avoiding him by moving around a lot. He says the last time he was able to see his daughter was when he helped buy her clothes for kindergarten. Tell me what you're thinking, what you're feeling.
The feeling is hate. I ain't gonna lie, I feel hate. But I asked you numerous occasions, just give me my daughter. If it's too much for you, just give me my daughter. I just want my daughter.
See where he was buried, overwhelming. He had to be comforted by a friend.
I don't get how you can hate your own kids enough to kill them. To do all this. To do all this and go right there to that home. Right there. And live there where your kids is dead right here. And go be a mother to another child. Why you just throw other two?
Now Deshaun Chapman wants changes to the system he says has denied him a chance to be a father.
Change these laws. Make it better. Men do have to say so in their child's life, married, unmarried.
Now, I reached out to Child and Family Protective Services and CPD to find out if they were involved in any way with Mr. Chapman, if he's undertaken any DNA tests. But right now, I can tell you from watching him, his body language and his verbal language, he is a grieving father. I'm Harry Boomer, East 162nd, 19 years.
Ask the attorney to put their name on the record, please.
Christine Travellini from the County Prosecutor's Office, 0067957. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Okay, so apparently this is a little hearing. Let's see what it's talking about.
Good morning, sir.
Assistant Public Defender Tina Tricarci. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay.
The very first case you have on the docket is Aaliyah Henderson. She has 2 counts of aggravated murder.
Good morning, Ms. Henderson. All right, so we're going to first hear from, regarding your bond, we're going to first hear from the prosecutor from the state, and regarding charges against you, charges that you are presumed innocent, and charges that allow for you to have an attorney without cost. And after we hear from the prosecutor, we'll hear from your attorney. Okay. Madam Prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, this is an allegation of in 2 separate charges. It's alleged in this matter that the defendant did cause the death of her 2 daughters, 8 and 10 years old. The badly decomposed of the 2 little girls were found in shallow graves in Cleveland in suitcases. Your Honor, the defendant is 28 years old. She scores a 1 and a 1 on the PSA, has no record noted on the PSA. Your Honor, based on the nature of the allegations and the charges in this case, I would ask for nothing less than a $2 million bond. I would implore the court to consider setting a $2 million bond, cash surety at this point for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Public Defender.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Henderson is waiving the preliminary hearing on both cases, and I ask for the most reasonable bond you can give her.
Tell me a little more about her that you know.
Judge, she's been in jail 3 days, and as you've seen the public safety assessment, she's looking for a job and she has a place to live, and all of her life has been in this area. Thank you.
Have you seen her PSA?
I have. I just said that.
Let's go over it. So no history of violence. History 1-1, no history of violence, no convictions, no charges. Given the nature of the allegations, as well as my concern for the safety of the public, we will deal, the bond will be $2 million. Ms. Henderson, work with your attorney, go to your hearings, and fight for your innocence, okay? Good luck, you take care.
Thank you, Your Honor.
$2 million on it's $1 million
per case.
I'm sorry, thanks for that clarification. It's $1 million each. All right. All right, any questions, Madam Public Defender?
No, thank you.
Okay. Take care, Mr.
Hey, Grandma.
No.
Say it.
Photos and videos of a young girl named Mila with a $1 million smile are being shared with Fox 8 for the first time. A man who says he is her father says she is one of the victims killed in a suitcase at Saranac Park in South Collinwood.
I just feel useless. I couldn't save my daughter.
We met the man at Saranac, where he and his brothers and family stopped to lay flowers at the 2 shallow graves along the fence line. The man asked us to not share his face to protect his identity. Mila's mother, 28-year-old Aaliyah Henderson, was officially charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder on Thursday. The man wants the public to know that Henderson kept his daughter away from him for years.
When it was something so simple, just give me her. You feeling stressed, give me her. I've been trying to get her for 6 years. You've been decking me. You told me I was super family-oriented. That's why you ain't giving me my daughter. Been trying, then talked to CPS numerous occasions.
The girl's father says he provided a DNA sample to the homicide unit, and it's being processed and will be confirmed in 3 days' time. But he knows in his heart of hearts his baby girl is gone, and there's nothing that he could have done about it. He says both victims' fathers made efforts to gain custody.
We both was in a position where we couldn't get her because she always left. She was always leaving.
Now he waits for more details from the police while grieving the loss of Mila.
I don't know how long she's been gone. I don't know how long she's been dead. I don't know how long she's been missing. But it could have been prevented.
In Cleveland, Tino Bovenzi, Fox 8 News.
Hey, Grandma. Mimi.
All right, I feel like he's the father. I don't feel like he'll be out there playing like they're being performative, but we don't know. We'll find out soon when the DNA comes back. But, it's sad and unfortunate that these babies went through what they went through. And I always say this shit because I always run through my mind when I do a story on what they were thinking. Like seeing the person that's supposed to be there for them and basically the only person that they've been around doing whatever they did to them. There's got to be something that's very heartbreaking and confusing as hell. But yeah, RIP to them. And also, I'm going to let y'all watch the press conference where they didn't know anything or they didn't say a lot at first. And nobody can footage after that. They didn't say a lot about what they knew at the time, but they still gave certain details. But look, I don't say what I have to say. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. We're going to talk about this in the comments and I'll holler at y'all later on the video. All right.
That was in a shallow grave inside of a suitcase. The officers immediately began their investigation.
As they canvassed the area for any potential evidence on scene, the officers located what appeared to be a second shallow grave, and they could tell that there was a second suitcase in that location. The officers at that time identified that there was inside of that second suitcase as well. The medical examiner's office responded out, and they took custody of the individuals and for their further investigation. So we completed our investigation on scene. The only updates we have at this time are that the individuals are 2 juvenile Black females. The one individual is suspected to be anywhere between the ages of 8.5 to 13. The second is estimated to be of the age of 10.5 to 14. At this time, there are no clear indicators of the cause of death of the 2 young females. And we're asking if anyone has any information, saw anything suspicious in the area, that they are to contact the Cleveland Division of Police Homicide Unit at 216-623-5464. We will be operating that line 24 hours a day, so someone will be available to answer those calls. Or they can call Crime Stoppers at 216-252-7463. At this time, we don't know how long the juveniles had been at this location. It was some time, so it's not just something that was recent. The investigation is ongoing. We have to wait for results from the medical examiner, and from there, we should have an update once we have further information. So if you have any questions, we'll open it up.
The body's dismembered.
No.
And approximately how big are these suitcases if you were to?
I am not going to give that information right now. So the only thing I do ask is if somebody saw something that was suspicious involving something that sounds familiar, I don't want to give certain information out that could tamper the investigation.
Were the 2 victims related?
No, we don't have any identification of either of the victims at this time.
But
Do you have any suspects?
No.
Are there missing persons, missing children that match the 2 girls that were found?
So it's a good question. We have checked our, locally, we have no reports of any missing children that match these identifications. We are checking statewide as well. We also have the assistance from our federal, state, and local partners. This is a priority. This is a traumatic event for our officers, for the community. And, this is just such a tragic incident. But we are trying to develop any leads we can. That's why we're also asking for the community's help.
I know in last night's press release, you said that the department said there's no ongoing threat to the public. What leads investigators to come to that conclusion?
When we say that, it's more, we know that this didn't just happen. We still have to develop exactly when this happened. And, we don't have any indication that there's a clear threat to safety.
Can you give any sort of update on the condition of the body? I know you said it's been some time. This isn't something that just happened, but any sort of...
So right now, the only thing we can say, there's no clear indicators. So there's nothing that's visible enough to determine what the cause of death was.
We had heard, Chief, that perhaps these children were malnourished. Is that something that you heard as well?
I don't have a comment on that. I would defer to the medical examiner once their results come out.
Were the individuals clothed?
I will also defer to the medical examiner on that at this time.
Was there any identification inside the suitcase or name on a shirt, like a kid's shirt, or anything that would lead you to?
Unfortunately, we have no indicators right now of the identity of the children involved.
Should we believe that they're local?
We can't even determine that at this time.
Can you kind of describe that neighborhood to us? Is there often foot traffic in that area?
Yeah, so the caller in this incident was just a resident from the area who was walking their dog through the area. This is a field close to the school over there. This is just a residential neighborhood that I'm sure a lot of people do frequent. The weather has been, changing recently. The snow's been thawing, so it's really hard to determine the length of time at this point.
There are some businesses around there with cameras that appear to be pointing. I don't know how far they go, but have you been gathering some of that evidence?
Yeah, so our detectives have been out there actively walking the neighborhoods and gathering the information. The difficult part is the timeline. How far you have to look back, and a lot of cameras don't capture historical data. So we are currently still canvassing for that. So if someone has cameras and they want to, just do a cursory review to see if they have anything suspicious, please let us know and give us a call.
For anyone watching this story, you want people to come forward who may have seen something suspicious. What are some things that, should set off an alarm and they should contact you about?
Anything that you see that's out of the ordinary. Did you see anyone spending a significant amount of time in that area? Someone who seems out of sorts to your neighborhood. Usually in residential areas, what's happening in your neighborhood. Something just seems a little bit off. That's why we're asking that anyone who has anything that they believe to be information directly related to or suspicious, that they give us a call.
Chief, we had heard that the FBI, perhaps U.S. Marshals, were out searching yesterday. Does that search have anything to do with these missing individuals?
No, that's not connected.
Are you working with any other agencies in this? Maybe FBI, maybe National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, anything like that?
We are working with all of our federal, state, and local partners. From Department of Children and Family Services to CMSD to the FBI. This is a priority investigation.
As far as your knowledge, have you had any other cases here locally similar to this one?
were found in suitcases or missing people or like anything like this before?
Not that I'm aware of.
Chief, can you describe, when it involves children, I mean, it takes this crime to another level.
It does.
Can you talk about that?
So when you look at that, you have an individual who's a resident who locates the trauma that happens right there. And, at the end of the day, our officers are just regular people and their parents. And, it's something that a lot of officers never have to experience. We hope they would never have to experience. And it's traumatic for everyone. And it's traumatic just for those who live in the area to know that this was right there outside their doorstep.
Should people be on heightened alert in and around this area?
I think all residents should always be cautious to the ongoings of their neighborhoods, just, keeping alert for anything that is suspicious and always reporting it. We can't do police work alone. It takes the community to be a part of that, to call us, to let us know if something in their neighborhood is suspicious that needs, something for us to take a further look at.
Have you been in contact with, CNSD, any local schools, things like that, working with their principals?
We're working with everybody.
Can I ask, when you say you don't need to wait too many details about the brand of suitcase, perhaps?
I appreciate the question, but because of the integrity of the investigation, I just can't give those specifics at this time. And as soon as we develop more leads or we have additional information, we will keep you updated. As soon as the coroner's office has more for us, we will keep you updated on that information. We just want to. The most important thing is misinformation gets out there quickly, and we want to clarify exactly what we know at this time. The delay in us giving the update is because this is it's a sensitive investigation, and there wasn't a lot to go on at this point. So we want to give you as much factual information that we have as soon as we could.
Are there any solid leads right now?
No.
Can I ask, and you may not be able to give it, but can you classify how badly decomposed these were? Was it a great amount? Obviously, that's going to impact the investigation.
Well, I'm going to leave it to the coroner's determination because they take custody of the bodies, and they're doing their review right now, so they will probably provide that update when they're complete.
So, Chief, what is your next steps?
As far as
where do you go from here? What will you do shortly after this news conference?
So I can tell you that one, we're establishing a 24-hour response line. Our investigators, not just on this investigation, but on many, they spend countless days, nights, hours, whatever it takes, sleepless nights on this investigation. We are working with all of our partners. We're canvassing, we're talking to people, and the best thing is to find answers. It's just terrible, horrific situation.
Do you have any idea how long it will take the medical examiner's office to
We don't. I don't want to talk about their timelines, but hopefully we'll have something soon.
When do you anticipate the next update?
As soon as we have something more. We want to make sure that we keep the community updated, but I'm giving you what we have right now. So as soon as we have something further. But again, I encourage anyone, if they saw anything suspicious, if they know anything related to kids that are missing, that they please call us. And that's the most important thing. 216-623-5464. Someone will be responding to that line in 24 hours. No, set.
Anything else you may want to add? You may have missed or you want to emphasize?
No, I just, the biggest thing is getting the accurate information out as quickly as we can. That's the most important thing, is making sure that, to honor these young people, making sure the right story is out there. So thank you very much.
Dan DeRose with 19 News as we get an update from Police Chief Dorothy Todd. Hey, so you can show me your rifle. How you doing, sir? I'm going to take it up right now.
So right here, this is some sort of body cam footage. I'm not sure if it's the dad being questioning or showing up. I think it is, but it could be I don't know if the mom being questioned. I don't know, but we're gonna watch together. Let's
Understood.
If you go, you can see the case from back here. It's all the way straight to the back.
Close to that sign?
That's
Yes,
the
little
witness
black-
that found.
Straight ahead in front of you? Okay. It's a suitcase?
It's a suitcase. I've been walking past it for about a week now because I take my dog. I stay right here. I take my dog. I usually walk her through there and then come around here.
Okay.
And for the last week, she's been stuck. It was like a mound of dirt. She's been stopped and sniffing like a little too long.
Okay.
And today I was like, well, I'm gonna take it. I hope it's not what I'm.
Right.
And it was halfway buried. It's about this thick. It's about halfway buried. I pulled it up, unzipped it. I couldn't really see, and I opened it up and it.
Buried under the dirt, it was?
Halfway. You can see a little part of it sticking out.
And you said you noticed it for about a week already?
Yeah, it's been sitting over there. It's like somebody buried it or tried to bury it. And like I said, I walk my dog over there and she keeps stopping and she sniff a little too long. Right. She sniffs stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Right,
I'm not
absolutely.
And today I was like, let me see what the fuck that really is.
Okay.
It's back there. I pulled it up so it's kind of standing up and it fucking stinks like hell.
Okay. You're right here at 670?
Yeah.
What was your name, sir?
Philip.
Philip? Okay. I'm going to check it out. I'll be with you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, are you still inside the district? Okay. I was gonna have you grab my flashlight, but that's all right. When you get up here, if you go down 162, like I went upstairs next to 162, you can just pull in this parking lot for this Ginn Academy, and you'll see me back here. So I haven't opened it yet. The dude I talked to, the caller, he said that there was this suitcase partially like buried in the ground that he said he's been noticing for like a week, and his dog keeps trying to get to it. So he said that he pulled it out today, and to see what was in there because it was kind of heavy, and he noticed like a head and hurry, he just left it and called the police. So I'll just wait till you guys get here before I open it. All right. Yeah, just come down towards like Midland, and I mean, as soon as you get to like the last drive for the school, you'll just pull in there. I'm in the back. All right. Bye. 14th radio. What? Hey, Gil, are you still at the district by chance? Can you do me a favor, please? I left my flashlight in the sergeant's office. Are you able to run it up to me? I'm on this call on 162. Yeah, so if you go in there right in front of, like on the side of the refrigerator, you'll see a flashlight. And then I'm on that call on 162nd and Midland. Appreciate it. Thanks, Gil.
Down 348. Stand by. Before, go ahead. Chief, let me over 10-3 on this call. I copy 1834. Radio to Body 14. His listed address is going to be in UnAlived. They did have a constable call back. It's from last September. It's 216-463-2233.
Can you repeat the last four? That phone number?
Yep, last four is going to be 2233.
Copy that.
I ain't opened it yet. I left my flashlight. Oh, you got a flashlight. We're going to have to look and see. I mean, it's like partially buried. He said it was sticking out for like a week. He finally decided to open it up. I just want to see. You flash your light on. I just want to see if there's anything on it. No? Yeah. You on?
Yeah.
You bring it closer. I can't see. Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, it is. It looks like a kid.
Yeah. I can't. It's attached. It's just like full in the fetal position. No, frozen.
Okay, y'all, that was the moment that the police officer found the suitcase, okay? Lord Jesus. Did I put my trigger warning up? Let me do it right now. While I look for this next video. We're going to do one more, y'all, and then we're going to talk some more. We're going to do more talking about this one tomorrow. I'm just playing these videos right now, but tomorrow we're going to do it. We're going to listen to Crime and Law and Crime Network, and then that's going to be it for today. And then tomorrow.
Now law enforcement is waiting on information from the medical cause of death, but also positive.
Hold on, dude. Tomorrow we'll have a discussion. We'll have a discussion on it. Just introducing y'all to the case. If y'all got any questions, please remember to put them in the chat. Make sure you double tap the screen and like the live stream. We're gonna listen to this one last one from Law and Crime, and then and I'm gonna share it out, and then we'll end it.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
This is the woman who police say is connected to the crime, what we know about her and how police tracked her down. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. We still have a lot of questions we're trying to get answered right now in this case out of Cleveland. It is a case that is horrific. It is chilling. And the big questions we are following right now, how did two young girls lose their lives? One of them possibly as young as just 8 years old. This is the moment a police officer walked up to one of the suitcases in the park on Cleveland's east side Monday night around 6:30. The suitcase was partially buried in the ground, but it was very visible. You can see as the officer walks up to it, it wasn't hidden in the trees or beyond the fence. The newly released body cam video, I will warn you, it has some very disturbing details that are tough to listen to, but I'll also tell you, you do not see what was inside the suitcase. Much of that has been redacted. Now, police say they found a second suitcase after investigating this one that was about 25 feet away. And they found another body in that suitcase. So you have the bodies of 2 young girls in 2 suitcases at this park. Now, before we get into the new information we are getting from police on the arrest and what we know about that person, I want to start with what we see at the beginning of this body cam video. This officer rolling up to this park and then meets the witness who called 911, who said they made the discovery of what was in the suitcase.
Hey, so you can show me Verizon. How you doing, sir?
Check it up right now.
Understood.
If you go, you can see the case from back here. It's all the way straight to the back.
Close to that sign?
Yeah, see the little black
straight ahead in front of you? Okay.
Straight,
It's a suitcase?
It's a suitcase. I've been walking past it for about a week now because I take my dog. I stay right here. I take my dog. I usually walk her through there and then come around here.
Okay.
And for the last week, she's been stuck. It's like a mound of dirt. She's been stopped and sniffing like a little too long.
Okay.
And today I was like, well, I'm gonna take it. I hope it's not what I'm.
Right.
And it was halfway buried. It's about this thick. It's about halfway buried. I pulled it up, unzipped it. I couldn't really see, and I opened it up. And
buried under the dirt, it was?
Halfway. Okay. You can see a little part of it sticking out.
And you said you noticed it for about a week already?
Yeah, it's been sitting over there. It's like somebody buried it or tried to bury it. And like I said, I walk my dog over there, and she keeps stopping. She sniff a little too long.
Right.
You know, she sniffs stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Right.
I'm not going to put it. And today I was just like, let me see what that really is.
Okay.
It's back there.
All right,
I pulled it up so it's kind of standing up and it stinks like it.
Okay. You're right here at 670?
Yeah.
What was your name, sir?
Philip.
Philip? Okay. I'm going to check it out. I'll be with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is a picture from Google Maps of the park. It is right outside of a school, and it's near a residential neighborhood where a man says he's regularly walking his dog at night, and he found this suitcase. And you heard him tell the officer that he actually believes the suitcase had been there for roughly a week, if not more. He says each time he would walk by it, his dog kept going up to it and kept showing it a lot of attention. And that night, he decided that it was time to see what was inside of the suitcase. And that's when he made the kind of discovery that lives with you forever, because you heard him tell the officer that as soon as he opened the suitcase, he saw a head inside. Now, as we continue this body cam video, the police officer then goes back to his cruiser, drives around to the other side of the park, and that's when he gets out and he makes his way to the suitcase to see for himself.
I got you.
Hey, are you still inside the district? Okay. I was going to have you grab my flashlight, but that's all right. When you get up here, if you go down 162, like I went up Saranac, 162, you can just pull in this parking lot for this Ginn Academy, and you'll see me back here. So I haven't opened it yet. The dude I talked to, the caller, he said that there was this suitcase partially like buried in the ground that he said he's been noticing for like a week, and his dog keeps trying to get to it. So he said that he pulled it out today and to see what was in there because it was kind of heavy, and he noticed like a head and hurry, he just left it and called the police. So I'll just wait till you guys get here before I open it. All right. Yeah, just come down towards like Midland, and as soon as you get to like the last drive for the school, you'll just pull in there. I'm in the back. All right. Bye.
14th radio.
But
Hey, Gil, are you still at the district by chance? Can you do me a favor, please? I left my flashlight in the sergeant's office. Are you able to run it up to me? I'm on this call on 162. Yeah, so if you go in there right in front of, like on the side of the refrigerator, you'll see a flashlight. And then I'm on that call on 162nd and Midland. Appreciate it. Thanks, Gil.
Victoria, can you show me a advice? Working on 3 reports and Mark taking that Aaron Crawford.
I got you. Yeah, 134 radio. Yeah, Mike. Hey, for glad. Keep me over chance 3 on this call. I copy 1834. Radio to 14. His listed address is going to be in UnAlived. They did have a constable call back. It's from last September. It's 216-463-2233.
You notice this officer remains incredibly calm, very professional as all of this continues on. And you see in this video that he's looking at the suitcase that was partially buried in the ground. And again, it's very visible. Whoever the person was, and I know that there's been an arrest that we'll talk about here in just a moment, it does not seem that they did a lot to hide this suitcase that police say had the body of a young girl inside. And you just wonder, looking at it, how many people passed this by in the days that it was potentially there, not knowing the absolute horror of a situation that had taken place and the life that was lost and the body that was inside of that suitcase. As you watch the body cam video, the officer waits for backup to arrive. And once the backup gets there, they go back to the suitcase and they investigate.
We're going to have to look and see. I mean, it's like partially buried. He said it was sticking out for like a week. He finally decided to open it up. I just want to see. You flash your light on. I just want to see if there's any blood or anything on it. No? Yeah. You on? You bring it closer. I can't see. Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, it is. It look like a kid.
Yeah. I can't. It's attached. It's just like folding the fetal position.
It wasn't long after this suitcase that officers discover a second suitcase in this park. It's about 25 feet away. They also say it was partially buried, and inside of that suitcase was the body of another young girl. Law enforcement say these girls, their ages, they believe are between 10 and a half and 14, and then the other one is between 8 and a half and 13. Right now, law enforcement is waiting on information from the medical examiner in Cleveland to not just determine cause of death, but also positively identify these bodies. However, the medical examiner did say that preliminary DNA results show that these girls were related. They believe the girls were half sisters. The police report that we received from Cleveland PD still lists the girls' names as Jane Doe. Now, hours after police made this horrific discovery, there was an arrest that was reportedly made, and this is the person allegedly responsible, Aaliyah Henderson. She's 28 years old, and right now she is in jail in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, and she is listed as facing a charge of murder and child endangering. Cleveland police have not officially said her name yet, but neighbors tell WOIO-TV that Henderson lived in a home that was not far from the park. It was possibly right across the street. And it was at that home that authorities executed a search warrant Wednesday night. Here's what Cleveland police said as they were executing the search warrant before they arrested Henderson. This is for WKYC-TV.
This evening, our homicide unit conducted a search warrant here in this area of East 162nd and Midland. As part of that ongoing investigation and search warrant, the investigators were able to identify and detain a person of interest. At this point, the investigation obviously is ongoing. This person is going to be interviewed, and we hope to continue this investigation and gather more leads. This is not an arrest at the moment. It's just a person of interest that we're looking to talk to and gain some more information. As you can imagine, all our resources, every possible lead that we have been receiving, every possible agency that we're able to work with, we're working to arrest those responsible person or persons that are responsible for this crime.
Police reportedly said that they took a person of interest into custody while serving a search warrant at that home across the street. And also in that home was a third child. But this child was alive, and this child appeared to be in good health, which is, if there's any good news in this story, and it can be hard to find at this point, the fact that that child is okay, that is certainly good news. We do know the child reportedly is in the custody now of the Department of Children and Families. Police have not said what the causes of death are for these two girls. We also don't know how long they were in the suitcases in the park, and we do not know when they died. This is what the chief of police in Cleveland said at a news conference.
Can you give any sort of update on the condition of the bodies that are found? I know you said it's been some time. This isn't something that just happened, but any sort of...
So right now, the only thing we can say, there's no clear indicators. So there's nothing that's visible enough to determine what the cause of death was.
We had heard, Chief, that perhaps these children were malnourished. Is that something that you heard as well?
I don't have a comment on that. I would defer to the medical examiner once their results come out.
Were the individuals clothed?
I will also defer to the medical examiner on that at this time.
Now, it's unclear what Henderson's relationship is to the two girls. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation right now about that, but we're just waiting to hear it from police before we talk about it. Police were asked during that news conference about open missing persons cases, and this is what the chief said about that.
Were there missing persons, missing children that match the two girls that were found?
So it's a good question. We have checked locally, we have no reports of any missing children that match these identifications. We are checking statewide as well. We also have the assistance from our federal, state, and local partners. This is a priority. This is a traumatic event for our officers, for the community. And, this is just such a tragic incident. But we are trying to develop any leads we can. That's why we're also asking for the community's help.
Even if police have a good idea on who these girls are at this point, and these girls were not entered as missing persons, we don't know how long, again, that they had been missing for. You still have to wonder at that age, with girls between the ages of 8 and 14, such a social part of a young person's life where they start to build friends. And if they go to school, teachers look after them. You have to wonder what their lives were like and why no one had reported them missing, especially if what the dog walker said is true, that suitcase was there for multiple days, a week, if not more. Why did nobody call in for these two girls, wondering where they were? Why did it have to take something like this, such a terrible discovery, for this case come to light? Those are some of the questions that we'll be watching to see if those get answered as this investigation continues on. But we want to be clear that this is still a very early part of this investigation, and police reiterated that today. Now, the Cleveland police chief did release
I don't think I mentioned this in the beginning, y'all. This case is about 11 days old. So this what we're watching in this moment. It's about 11 days old. Of course, 11 days later, there are updates, and that's what we're going to get into tomorrow. But I needed to tell y'all that what we're watching right now is 11 days old. This is like when the bodies were first discovered. So we'll play catch up, and we'll get all updates as of today, and we'll cover that tomorrow. Okay.
Statement to media outlets, and it said this, quote, "These were two young lives with their entire futures ahead of them. Our detectives worked tirelessly with great care to identify those responsible." And as reaction continues to come in, a more firmly worded quote from a Cleveland city councilman named Michael Polensik. He told TV station WOIO, quote, "What kind of monster demon would do this to two children? Just throw them away like they're garbage. No, not here, not in Collinwood. That didn't happen. We're not going to put up with that. There's got to be justice for these two kids." And then you have the mayor of Cleveland. His name is Justin Bibb. This is what he said, according to NBC News. Quote, "I want to thank our homicide detectives and members of the Division of Police for their incredible work in this case. Their dedication and persistence led to a quick arrest in connection with the tragic deaths of two young children whose bodies were discovered earlier this week. We love and protect our young people, and the loss of these two children is unimaginable." Now, we will continue to keep an eye on Henderson's court case as it moves forward. At the time of this recording, she has not been entered into a docket to appear in court. Arraignments typically happen in Ohio between 1 and 3 days after someone's arrest. We will keep you updated on this story as we continue to follow its developments. That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, and we're also now streaming on Peacock. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, I've been talking that whole time on mute. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I keep forgetting. When the video be playing, I be muting so y'all won't hear any back noise or whatever. I done talked, I done said bye. I was trying to hit the end button and realized I was on mute. Thank you, Lady Marie. I apologize. So what I was saying was this. I just wanted to introduce y'all to that. Now, as far as the Precious Johnson case, unless any other updates or anything about that case comes up, we won't be revisiting that one because I think that's pretty much. Hey, April, I think that case is pretty much with both of the parties being deceased. I don't think there's going to be any updates. If I do get something about the case, I will we will talk about it, but if not, that's going to be the end of that one. Now, as far as this Aaliyah Henderson case, we will continue to follow that one. In fact, we'll be back tomorrow to go more into depth and to get more caught up to what's going on as of today. Okay. I do want to send up prayers for both families or family members of both cases. I do want to send up prayers for the deceased as well as the living. Okay. Um, like I say, we'll be back tomorrow to do some more catching up and reacting. Um, if y'all see anything y'all think I should react to, of course, send it to me and we'll talk about it. Um, we'll be over in Sipperville in about 30 minutes. Okay. But we will be back here tomorrow to cover more on the Aaliyah Henderson case. All right. With that being said, y'all listen. Y'all have a blessed, beautiful rest of your day. I'll see y'all later. Thank y'all so much for supporting this live stream. I appreciate it. If you have not hit the live button on the way in, hit it on the way out. Okay? And until later, y'all. Truth seekers stand up and we out. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate that. All right. Love y'all.